All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SME Solutions Expo. Up next is the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, or MIDA. MIDA is an agency of the Malaysian government to help promote investment in industry in Malaysia. All right, so we apologize that the last minute engagement by Encik Nazuki, the original presenter, he is not able to make it this morning. And instead, we welcome Encik Fatah and Encik Faisal from the Domestic Investment and Supply Chain Coordination Division of MIDA. So over to you, gentlemen.
Hi, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, everyone. My name is Faisal Ahya from Domestic Investment and Supply Chain Division, MIDA. First and foremost, I would like to say sorry on behalf of Mr. Nazuki Abdullah, my director, because he could not be here with us today. He has to attend a very urgent meeting. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to thank you, SME Solutions Secretariat, especially Puan Rosita and Mr. Ziong, for inviting us to speak about MIDA today. Thanks to the wonders of technology, we are able to meet here on this digital space and continue to know about MIDA basics function, products, services. We are interested to focus on today's event, continuing our efforts to bring maximum value to our investors. Today, my colleague, Mr. Fatah, and myself will be presenting a slides presentation pertaining about MIDA, focusing on SMEs. I'm sure everyone will benefit from this deeper sharing on business opportunities and facilities available later in this session. For the first half of this presentation, I would like to invite Mr. Fatah to kickstart our session. Mr. Fatah, over to you.
Yeah. Can you guys share the screen? That would be great. So we can get this presentation underway. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right, we're fine.
We can begin now.
Yeah, we can begin now, please. Thank you. All right.
Okay. Very good morning. Today, the topic of my presentation today is about business facilitations for SMEs. As you are aware, MIDA is the acronym for Malaysian Investment Development Authority. So we are, you can say, the first point of contact for investors who intended to do business in the country. So MIDA has been established in 1967, and we are the agencies under the Ministry of International Trade and Industry. And our main role or our mandate is to promote investments both in the manufacturing as well as in the selected services sectors. So our headquarters based in KL Central. So, and then we have 20 overseas offices all over capital exporting countries in the United States, Europe, Middle East, as well as Asia, and 12 states offices. And to all the SMEs, please get to know them. Because why? This is where you may wish to get some sourcings in terms of technology sourcings or business partners. Then you may wish to contact them to further spur your business opportunities. And as for our 12 state officers, get to know also them. They are based in the state capital city, and except for Kedah, for police, it is based in Kedah office. And then they are acting like like our headquarters in KL Central. They are like a mini MIDA at the states. Okay, so let me take you to the investor's journey. The moment investor might ask us, is MIDA really for SMEs? So, and investors, when they wanted to know what is MIDA all about, MIDA, the first function of MIDA is to promote domestic investments, as what we have in today. So today you will learn what MIDA is all about, how we facilitate business, and why you should come to us to spur your business opportunity. So once you get to know, so meaning to say that the first role of MIDA is to promote domestic investment as well as foreign direct investments. Okay, now I know what is MIDA all about. Then you step into MIDA. What do I get from MIDA? So this is where our process is to evaluate applications for manufacturer license, tax incentive, expatriate post, as well as status approval. Bear in mind, we have 7 manufacturing divisions in MIDA, as well as 5 services divisions in MIDA. Once, okay, I got the approval already. So what's next? They will be talking about implementations. So how I'm going to implement? When you want to implement, we also will assist you in implementing your projects in the country through our MIDA state officers. And at the same time, you have issues with regard to importation, or you wish to get some import duty exemptions from customs. Yes, you might want to come to us to get the exemptions. And of course, once you get the manufacturing license as well as the tax incentive, you have conditions to fulfill. And through our compliance divisions, we will assist you to ensure that whatever condition that has been stipulated will be fulfilled. And during your operation, of course, you might face some difficulties in your manufacturing activities or selected services activities, such as issues with regard to water, issues with regard to power supply. Come to us. We will assist you as a government representative. We will act as a company to raise your issues and to solve your issues. Besides, by the slow as what I mentioned just now, we also facilitate. When you say facilitate, means we also facilitate in terms of your talent needs, in terms of your engineering support needs, in terms of adoption of Internet 4.0 technology, Industrial 4.0 technology, industrial, talking about local sourcing, technology collaboration, funding needs, as well as e-services portal. So now I'm going to give you explanations about MIDA approvals. When you step into MIDA, what are the approvals that I can get? There are 6 major points which you need to bear in mind. Okay. So as new investment, if I wish to establish a project in Malaysia, what do I get? So you come to MIDA, these are the approval that you may wish to get from us. 1, talking about manufacturing license. 2, on the status approval. 3, tax incentive. 4, on the grants. 5, on the import duty exemption, as well as number 6 is the expatriate post approval. And please bear in mind, 100% equity owned is allowed in the country, meaning if it's a foreign company which is to undertake manufacturing as well as some selected services sectors in the country, it is allowed in Malaysia. And if you think of the investment, meaning to say you wish to invest, you wish to expand your business in the country, do I need to come to MIDA? The answer is definitely yes. Because why? This is where you may wish to get another manufacturing license. You may consider about getting the tax incentive, the investment allowance, tax grants, and then talking tax grants and automation capital allowance, import duty assurance, as well as expatriate post approval. Same goes with diversification project. There are things that you may wish to get from MIDA. So now, item number 1, manufacturing license or exempted. So under the Industrial Coordination Act 1975, a company which holds fund of 2.5 million and above or full-time manpower of 75 people or more can apply for a manufacturing license. In the event, let's say, if I didn't comply in any of those conditions, you can be considered as exempted. Do I need to come to MIDA? Yes. Because why? We're going to issue a letter saying that you are exempted from manufacturing license. When bear in mind, this letter is as equivalent as having a manufacturing license, meaning it's a proof for you to show that you are a manufacturer in the country. And bear in mind also, this manufacturing license is an additional toward your business license, which you usually obtain it from the local PBT, local authority. How do I apply it? Under Penjana, it takes about 2 days to get the approval. And you can apply it directly to our e-manufacturing license or EML. And what benefits do I get on having this manufacturing license or example letter? First, this is where you can, with this approval, you can apply for tax incentive, import duty exemption, as well as post approval in MIDA, as well as confirmation of local products in government tenders through Ministry of Finance. Number 3, talking about application for Made in Malaysia logo from Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs. And last but not least, during this MCO time, if you wish to operate during MCO time, of course, MITI will ask you to provide the manufacturing license or a letter saying that you are exempted from manufacturing license. So please do come to us to apply this manufacturing license approval. Now let us go to the number 2 on tax incentive. Tax incentive is a form of corporate tax holiday, meaning you are not paying tax either full or partial. As you are aware, the current corporate tax is about 24%. And for a new company, they are entitled to obtain either 2 types of incentive. One is finance status. Number two is the investment tax allowance. And this incentive can be given either partial, means 70%, or full 100% for the period of 5 years or even 10 years. What is the difference between finance status and investment tax allowance? Tax allowance will be given for companies who invest in capital, who's having a capital intensive investment. So if you are heavily invested in capital, then you might want to look at ITA. Otherwise, you might want to look at finance status. Let me give you some. Let me give you some uh, figures here. Let's say if your statutory income is 1,000, and you'll be given a tax holiday of 100%, means this 1,000 will be 100% belongs to the company. In the event, let's say if you'll be given 70% of your tax of your tax holiday, meaning to say that your 700 will be waived, and only you will pay about 300. This 300 ringgit times 24%, meaning to say you need to pay about 72 ringgit. So meaning to say that in a situation whereby you didn't get any of these tax holiday, you need to pay about 1,000 times 24%, which is equivalent to 240 ringgit. See the benefits that you can get from obtaining this tax incentive. Then, if company have enjoyed after 5 or 10 years tax incentive, what's next? If I were to expand my business to, can I get any additional incentive? The answer is yes, through this reinvestment allowance. And this reinvestment allowance is applicable for the next 15 years. Or in all, you have about 20 years at least, not paying full tax to the government. This is quite lucrative for manufacturer. Then you have to bear in mind, to obtain the finance status or investment tax allowance, there are sectors which are promoted. And to get the list of promoted activities, you may wish to look at the website link below and look for this brochure by the name of Malaysia Investment in the Manufacturing Sector. Looks for appendix. There's five appendix there. Appendix 1 will tell you about general list, means list of products that can be promoted, that can be considered for finance testers or investment tax allowance. Appendix 2 talking about list for companies that are involved in high technology. Appendix 3 is for the SMEs. Appendix 4 is for the selected industries, and last but not least, Appendix 5 is for companies that intended to do some investment activities. So for SME, this is the list of products or activities that can be considered for tax incentive. Example, if I'm in a rubber product, let's say I'm making glove, can I get the tax incentive? The answer is yes. And what's lucrative about a small scale industry is that you will be given for sure 100% tax holiday for 5 years. Meaning to say you are not paying tax for whatever profit that you gain from the company or from your operations. And of course, in order for you to entitle for this tax incentive, there are some conditions that you need to fulfill. Among others, we're talking about the shareholders funds, talking about the value added, talking about the managerial technical staff index, and the product must be engaged in the listed list, as we can see just now. And the other things that you must, let's say in the event if my activity is not included in any of these SME lists, then maybe you might want to look at the general list. Because if you look at the general list, the range of activities are more widened compared to the SME list. And please bear in mind, to obtain the tax incentive for finance status or ITA, investment tax allowance, you need to apply before you start operations. But for Malaysian company, we have give some relaxations whereby if you're in operation, but less than a year, you are still can be considered to get the tax holiday. Otherwise, if you miss the boat, then you call it as you are in a non-desirous issue, means you are not entitled to obtain the tax incentive. And these are the sectors that we are currently, the government is looking at. On the manufacturing side, you can see the sectors that we are promoting is in the electrical and electronics, machine equipment, chemical, medical devices, aerospace, and other sectors like automotive, transport, textile, pharmaceutical, metal, food processing, as well as some services activities. As you can see on the right hand side, you can see logistics, hotel and tourism, education and training, green technology, offshore outsourcing activities, principal, and etc. If any of your company is doing any of these activities mentioned here, then please do come meet up with us to discuss on the what are facilitation or tax incentives that can be given. And for your information, our targeted investment shall be looking at investment in a high value added, strong linkages, skill intensive, high income job, as well as high technology, R&D and design, and etc. Number 3, funds for grants. This is quite an interesting topic. Means it's free money, but it's a bit difficult. It's a free money. So technically, there are four type of grants that we can offer in MIDA. Number one is Domestic Investment Strategic Fund, or DISF. Number two, is the DISF for Industry Forward Technology Drivers. Number three is DISF for under Pencana, and number four is Intervention Fund. What is DISF? DISF is where we give grants to increase your capabilities, to move up your, in other words, we try to move up your value chain, for companies to produce product that is high value added, high technology, knowledge intensive, and innovation based in a targeted industries. As you can see there are 6 manufacturing sectors that we are looking at and 9 services sectors. In the manufacturing sectors, talking about aerospace, medical devices, pharmaceutical, advanced electronic, machinery equipment, plus other industries on a case-to-case basis. As for the services sector, you can see there's 9 line-up activities that we are looking. And bear in mind, this grant is talking about, it is a matching grant, 50% by the company, 50% by the government, and the company must be at least 60% equity owned by Malaysians. And this grant is for used to cover what? The grant is used to cover for your R&D activity, your training activity, your modernization and upgrading, lesson and purchase of new or high technology, as well as obtaining international standards or certifications. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm in the advanced electronic industry. I produce version 1 chips. Now I wish to upgrade my capability to produce version 2 chips. And in order for me to produce this version 2 chip, I need to modernize my machines. Can I apply for this DISF grant? The answer is possible, and it's yes. Please to come to us for further discussion. Number 2 is talking about DISF under Industry Forward Technology Drivers. As you are aware, Industry Forward has been announced by the government in 2018, and under the budget 2019, the government has introduced DISF for companies to encourage companies in adopting the Industry 4 in their manufacturing process. Bear in mind, under the normal DISF, you only entertain to obtain 50-50 kind of arrangement. But for DISF and Industry 4, you entertain to get 60-40, means 60% will be borne by the government and the balance 40% will be borne by the company. And this incentive is eligible for companies that has undertaken the readiness assessment process. So what's the difference between the normal DISF and the Industry 4 DISF? The only difference is that you, beside the 60-40 and the readiness assessment, you must also adapt at least one of the following 11 Industry 4 technology pillars. Example, autonomous robots, Internet of Things, system integration, additive manufacturing, cyber security, and etc. Now, next is talking about DISF under Pencana. It was introduced this year due to COVID-19. So please bear in mind, under DISF, under Pencana, the conditions and the sectors has been a bit loose a bit. In talking about the equity condition, you can see just now for DISF, it's supposed to be under the normal DISF, you must have at least 60% equity owned by Malaysians. But under the Pencana, the equity has been reduced to have at least 51% equity by Malaysians. And the sectors is beside the 6 sectors in the manufacturing and 9 sectors in the service sectors. Companies that are producing products that is under the promoted list for SME, as I've shown you just now, is also entitled for DISF. On top of that, industry in the ecosystem of sectors classified as nationally important also are entitled to obtain the DISF under Pencana. Example, if I'm producing masks, if I'm producing ventilator, if I'm producing any of these protection equipment, you are also entitled to apply for DISF under this section. And for companies that has enjoyed DISF before, you are also entitled to apply again. And then for those who has been disputed, at least 50% of the previous approval are also entitled. And please bear in mind, the ratio has been increased under training grant 4 and also capital grant, whereby 70% will be borne by the government and 30% will be borne by company with the maximum cap of 500,000 for each company. The rest of the grant, as the training, the R&D, etc., will be on the matching basis. Number 4 is talking about the Industry 4 Intervention Fund. This is another financial support facility given by the government to SMEs to embrace the Industry 4. And please bear in mind, in order for you to obtain this, you must undergo the readiness assessment process. which I will explain to you later what is readiness assessment. And because under the readiness assessment process, they will look at shifting three being factors, which are the people, process, and technology. Under this readiness assessment, under this Industry 4 Intervention Fund, 70% will be subsidized by the government and 30% will be borne by the company. On top of this 70%, government will upfront 30% for you to kickstart your Industry 4 intervention. So, who are eligible to obtain this intervention fund? You can see inside the slide there, you must be a manufacturer, you must fall under the SME categories, you must be in operation at least 3 years, you must have the manufacturing license and or manufacturing license, plus you must complete the readiness assessment process. And this is a process flow in order for you to obtain the intervention fund, talking about the moment you have been given the approval by the readiness assessment committee, then you need to submit to MIDA, and from there you also need to go for this pitching session in MITI. From pitching session, once approved, then only you will get the you need to sign some agreements. We put some upfront 30% for you to start the project, and then after that you submit back to us for the remaining grants, which is the 40% remaining grants, remaining balance. You need to come back to us. Before we disburse the grant, there will be some audit visit that will come to your factory to assess whether you have complied with all the conditions and all the requirements. And after that, once approved, they only be given the 40% balance. Please bear in mind, the expenditure for intervention fund must be incurred not more than 12 months from the date of approval by MIDA. Claims for remaining grants must be submitted not more than 18 months from the date of approval by MIDA. So what is readiness assessment? Readiness assessment is a comprehensive program to help firms to assess your capabilities and readiness in terms of adopting the Industry 4 technologies. This is where agency MITI will come to your site, to your factory to assess your readiness in terms of adopting the Industry 4. And from there, they will find out the gaps and put out a recommendation how to improve your capabilities. And there will be a steering committee that will come and visit your factory, and they will come out with a proposal paper, whether what sort of intervention that is needed and what sort of financing support that is needed. Sorry, in order to register to readiness assessment, you can see the line with the website given down there. Please scroll and register yourself for the Industry 4 readiness assessment process. And what are the assess? They will assess your technology, process, and people. When talking about technology, what are the areas that we're talking about? It's about your asset. They will assess your asset in terms of your asset asset automations, asset connectivity, asset intelligence, meaning they will look into whatever machines that you have. What is the level of your machines connectivity? What is your level of machines intelligence? What is the level of your assets automations? And on process side, they're looking at how you process involved in talking about your product management, your supply chain management, and your organization in adopting the Industry 4. Plus people, how well you train your people to be ready with the Industry 4 scenario. Talking about looking at the human capital development as well as the transformations initiative. And in a snapshot, the readiness assessment will determine the readiness of the company to adopt the Industry 4. Number 2, define gaps, and then number 3, they will develop feasible strategies and plans to perform the outcome-based intervention project. So let me go to the point number 4. This we call as automation capital allowance. The automation capital allowance is another way of government whereby we wish company to automate their process. We give allowance for companies who wish to automate the process. And why we need to encourage company to automate? Of course, by automation you increase your productivity, you will less dependence on the foreign workers, and plus it will further spur automation initiative. And there are two categories, category 1 and category 2, divided by sectors. Let's say if you are using products that falls under the category 1, that are rubber products, plastic, wood, furniture, and textile. You will be given automation capital allowance of 200% on the first 4 million expenditure incurred. Other sectors will fall under category 2, so the allowance will be 200% on the first 2 million expenditure incurred. until 2023. Let me give you an example. Let's say if I have a stacking process in the glove industry. So I wish to automate the process instead of using manpower. And I buy a machine that cost me about 4 million. So you will get 8 million in terms of allowance. And this allowance will be deducted to your statutory income. And number 5, our next role is talking about import duty and sales tax exemptions. For companies which is located in the PCA or principal custom area, of course, sometimes we need to bring raw material, machine, spare parts, or even equipment from overseas, which you cannot find in Malaysia. And when you bring the goods, sometimes there must be some import duty or sales tax being imposed to that equipment, machines, or even the raw materials. So how can I be waived? Yes, the answer is yes. So you can be waived from paying the tax by coming to us, and we will process the applications for the raw material components. Besides that, we also process for exemptions be given for companies that involve in the iron and steel industries, selected services sectors, as well as agriculture sectors. Number 6, approval, talking about the expected post approval. So sometimes people or company might want to have expatriate to be located inside your factories. Basically, there are 2 posts. One is a key post, which means that they are permanently based in the company, and time post, which means that they are located in the company for a specific period. What is the difference between key post and time post? Key post is a high level manager. They are the one who safeguard they need to be here to safeguard their investments, and they are the one who determine the policy of the company. And as for the time post, there are 2 types of posts, which are the executive posts, which are the intermediate level of managerial and professional posts, and they are the one who is responsible in implementing whatever policies that has been determined by their high level management. Another one is a non-executive post, whereby they are the one who perform the technical jobs that are required in the company. So these are the 6 approvals that you may wish to grab from MIDA. So beside approvals, I wish to inform you that we also do facilitations. And on this, I will pass it to my colleague, Mr. Faisal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vata. What an informative presentation in regards to the core functions and the services rendered by us. So the second half of this presentation will be more on facilitation, business facilitation rendered by MIDA. So as everyone here can attest, the pandemic has compelled businesses, both big and small, to rethink their business model, and the new normal that has dawned on us present us the opportunities to find innovative ways to prioritize operational efficiency and build resilience by strategically leveraging effective digital technologies. So for business facilitation, uh, first is post-investment issues. So post-investment is more related on the after sales. So technically, when you talk about custom issues in terms of GST, we will coordinate and facilitate with Custom Malaysia on the issues on customs, not just customs. We can talk about immigration. In terms of that, we also talk about we also facilitate and assist company issues related to Department of Environment, and also we will coordinate with those departments on how we can assist companies to get the approvals or issues solved. So most of the issues pertaining to the companies usually will be more on infrastructure wise. So when we talk about infrastructure, we will talk about electricity and power supplies of the factory, and also water supplies. Now I think there's water shortage all around Selangor. So we will facilitate and also we will advise our stakeholders on how we can assist them in solving these issues. So this particular post-invest department is in MIDA, and it's been headed by Puan Nur Aida Ahmad, the director of post-invest. You can just look at the the one the down in the slides. Okay, here. So more or less, when you talk about post-invest, it's all about the after sales. What will happen in the next after the company has been what do you call it? Established. Established. So not just that, we do. The post-invest department will also work together with our state directors to solve these kind of issues, because it's not dedicated for Kuala Lumpur or Selangor. It's everywhere in our Semenanjung and also Sabah and Sarawak. So besides that, one of the services that we provide will be on the talent assistance. So we have a specialized department headed by Puan Aiza Abdullah, the director of talent management and expected post. That division is proactively uh, have reach out to companies on how to assist companies in terms of talent requirements. And also we besides that, also they also do some promotional activities like such as career fair and also one-to-one session with companies. So that is more on the how to say the talent management, but they also provide services in terms of approval with expected posts and so forth. So when you talk about having established manufacturing plant, you need the talent, you need the workers to be efficient to work in that. So this division will coordinate and work with academics and also institution in providing better talented workers for the factories established for our stakeholders. So any issues or any requirements on talent, you can just contact Wan Aiza Abdullah. In terms of local sourcing, so we also look at the awareness and outreach. We organize seminars, conferences to disseminate information to local sourcing opportunities and to identify anchor companies and local suppliers on potential vendors to work with our stakeholders. Besides that, we also have vendor facilitation program. So when you talk about vendor, it's more on a proactive approach by MIDA to engage anchor companies with the local vendors here under our domestic investment strategic fund. And we will also tailor-made program to include those vendors for workshop, webinars, and also other related programs. So in terms of local sourcing, it's more on assisting MNCs and industry players to leverage on Malaysia expanding local supply chain. So at the end of the day, besides promoting, when we talk about MIDA, it's more on, when we talk about MIDA, usually in their people's mind, it's more on foreign direct investment. But we do facilitate not just foreign, but also domestic. So in terms of industry linkages program, we also integrate domestic companies with global supply chains abroad through specific missions overseas to target industries such as machinery, equipment, aerospace, and E&E. Very focused industries. So besides that, we also provide local engineering support. It's more on facilitating. So, for example, Mo and I, we have about 446 companies in Malaysia doing precision specification by international semiconductor industry. The end user will be like the automotive industry and also E&E. So we also have metal casting, machineries, metal stamping, service engineering, heat treatment, forging, and metal fabrication. So this is the list that we have. So if any of you would like to know more on this, you can contact my director, Mr. Nazuki Abdullah, on how we can connect you with these companies. So besides talking about the normal conventional industries, we are also adapting to Industry 4 technologies. So as what Mr. Fatah just said earlier, we do focus on Industry forward readiness assessment. So maybe some of you, when you are going for the Industry forward intervention fund, you go for this kind of readiness assessment. It will be coordinated by MITI. I think Mr. Fatah has elaborate more on the facilitation and also the criteria for this readiness assessment. Besides that, we also have automation capital allowance, smart automation grant, digital transformation acceleration program, and I think the main focus will be more on our domestic investment strategic fund, the ISF. And then we do provide a very specific incentives for vendor development program, special incentive for electrical and electronics industry. And we also work together with Malaysia Bank Pembangunan for because they do have some allocation in terms of financing for Industry Digitized Transformation Fund (IDTF). Okay. As for SJPP, they also provide business loan guarantee schemes, for our industry players. I think more or less you understand that in this COVID, the new normal, this kind of facilitation is very needed. So for more information or for more elaboration and assistance, you can talk to our director, Mr. Nur Hizal Ibrahim, from the Advanced Technology and Research Development Division. So they will be focusing more on the adoption of 4.0 technologies. Okay, in terms of funding needs, just to elaborate a bit, MIDA Domestic Investment Coordination Platform was created to assist companies that are seeking capital injection for expansion, structured financing for new projects, joint venture partner, as well as merger and acquisition. So this team is dedicated to provide the missing link between businesses, funding, technology, and research partners to enable local companies to grow and to remain competitive. So I think when you look at the slides, we are venturing into a new environment in terms of getting our stakeholders financial support, not just in terms of financing, but also on assisting them on getting funds to expand. So for more information about this, come over and meet with us. How we can assist you in terms of business allocation and capital raising. Okay, so for e-services, we have several portals that you can work with. So in terms of i-incentive, you can go to our i-incentive and i-services. This is among the programs that we do. So in terms of promotion, so on our department, domestic investment and supply chain coordination division, we assist companies through domestic through a lot of channels. For example, domestic investment seminar. We do MIDA Invest Series. Recently, we did Invest Series with Johor. So it's more on showcasing that state on what is the business opportunity for the state and so forth. We do also do specialized domestic specific project mission. As what I told you earlier, supply chain programs, joint domestic investment activities, like what's happening now, iGEM in MIDA. Please go to our website and get acquainted to the programs that we are doing now. It's iGEM. And then we do a regular engagement with our stakeholders. We do call them up, in terms of business, it's not just business, it's about relationship. So our function is to mitigate and assist company in terms of their problems and needs through engagement, through normal engagement. And besides that, we also assist our SME through our SME desk programs. And also we are looking at how to find funding and so forth through our DICP program. We just also like to highlight on the Lighthouse project. That one will be under our advanced technology team. So our triple helix collaboration. So this is among the activities that we are doing from our department. But please come over and meet us to know more. Yeah. So what's new? So this is among the incentive provided by Penjana, in terms of for our short-term economic recovery plan. So it's more on additional investment allowance, automatic approval. Well, our ML now is about 2 days approval. So please, it's more, everything is online now. And then if you have any problems or issues, our project acceleration and coordination unit, PACHU, will assist you more on how to mitigate and solve your problem and also needs. Yeah. So undeniably, Malaysia has the right mix of competitive advantage to be a prominent global supply chain hub. Our strategic location, efficient trade infrastructure, well-connected business ecosystem, and talented workforce offer exciting opportunities for companies leveraging upon as they do business with ASEAN and beyond. However, to continue being the preferred investment destination in the region, public and private collaboration need to be effectively deployed. Industry players such as yourself need to step up to fully utilize all available programs that I've just explained and Mr. Fatah explained just now by the government, and do give us your feedbacks and issues or challenges so that we can fine-tune our policies. Together, we can forge ahead on our road to recovery to Malaysia. So I would like to end this presentation by saying thank you to our SME Expo team for inviting us for this program. So, Mr. Fatah, any last words from you?
Oh, I think we go back to Zian.
Zizian?
Yes, all right. Thank you, Mr. Faisal and Mr. Fatah, for that very enlightening session and hopefully very helpful session for our SMEs. Right, now we move on to the Q&A session. We actually have quite a lot of questions here from the audience, so let's go one by one. All right, so Haley Wong asks, is MIDA only focusing on the manufacturing industry?
Okay, the answer is we are focusing on manufacturing as well as selected services sectors. We are not involved in the financing sectors. We are not involved in any of these agriculture sectors. We are pure manufacturer and selected services sectors. When we say selected services sector, talking about, for example, renewable energy, talking about hotels, talking about principal hub, and R&D activities that will come under our preview.
All right. Okay, we have some more questions. One from Rosita Shuib. She actually says, we get a lot of feedback from SMEs and business owners that it is difficult to get approvals. Do you have any advice or tips on how to make applications easier? And actually, we have one from Jordan. It's a bit more straightforward. How do we apply for MIDA grants?
Okay, I think to explain details about how to apply grants from, I think there's options. Either you come to our headquarters in KL Central, or perhaps maybe you might want to visit our state offices for the detailed discussions. In fact, you can always drop an email to Mr. Nazuki just now. You can see the email address from the slide. You might wish to email to him, then we will further coordinate from there.
All right, so the emails and the phone numbers will be available in the replay later on SME Magazine Facebook and also on the conference website. The replays will be there and the emails will be in those slides. We have Mr. Chuan Tan Cheng, very informative tax incentive. All right, that's not a question, but that's a compliment. Thank you very much. We have one from Benjamin Yo. What is the rationale behind MIDA's list of promoted activities?
Oh, the rationale is that we have sectors whereby we want the industries to be around in the country. Some sectors which has been established in the country, so I think it's no longer promoted because sometimes we don't want to be some sort of oversupply kind of situations. Example, glove. Nowadays, there are many glove industries in the country. So this kind of industry at this point of time under the generalists, we are not promoted. But talking about certain technologies which is new innovations, knowledge-based kind of incentives, knowledge-based kind of industries, yes, we do want these industries to be around in Malaysia, especially talking about high technology incentive, the technology industries. Sorry.
Okay, we have actually two from Shawnee Tay. We'll take it one by one. Are there any plans for MIDA to expand grants together with the Penjana program?
Yes, I think we have explained just now on the DISF grants on the Penjana scheme. I think you might want to look at back in the slides. There's a grants under Penjana.
All right. And there is another one also from Shawnee Tay. Are there any deadlines to apply for grants with MIDA?
Yes, for DISF under Penjana, the deadline will be by end of this year. And for the normal grants, so far we still continue it until for the notice lah, until budget, until we will, because earlier it should be expired by 2020, but we will wait for a budget announcement, see whether the incentive will be extended or not.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for, the budget 2021
Right.
table thing November. All right, so I think that is all the questions we have
Thank you
for
very
our
much.
live session with MIDA. Thank you very much, Mr.
Yep.
Encik Faisal and Encik Fatah. If
Yep.
you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to stop by MIDA's virtual exhibition booth, and also check out the other exhibition booths by our other vendors. So once again, thank you very much from the SME Solutions Expo, and we will see you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.